I thought I was prepared, but no. Well, thank you very much to agree to do the interview.
No problem.
I'm super happy. I was all night thinking, oh my God, I even dream about that.
Okay.
It's terrible.
I'll try to be impressive. I can't promise anything.
You're always cool. Well, I've split the interview in like 3 parts.
Sure.
The first is like know the person, and the second is know the author, and know the books.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's a stupid question, but for me it's not stupid, and I'm sure a lot of people is very interested on. How tall are you?
I'm
Like
6'7". I'm not sure what that is in meters. It's like 2.1.
That's just a lot.
Stupid tall.
Wow.
Yeah, ridiculous tall. I'm always the tallest person in the room.
Yeah, but that's super cool.
I mean, it's good at a concert when you're like looking over people to see the stage.
Yeah.
It's not so good when you got to buy a pair of jeans.
Well, that's correct. That's true. Okay, now the real questions, okay?
Sure.
Who is Jay Kristofff? You know, I know this question is difficult, but for example, when you are not writing, what are you doing? What are your hobbies, you know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a nerd. I'm a massive nerd. You know, I play D&D with my buddies every Wednesday night.
That's cool.
I watch nerdy TV. I read nerdy books. I am to regular nerds what nerds are to normal people. Like, I'm the biggest nerd on the planet. I know I don't look it, but I am. I listen to music. I love music. I can kind of go a day without reading, but I can't go a day without music. That's a huge part of my life. I love my dog, love my wife. I live in a city called Melbourne, which is on the east coast of Australia. It's the coolest city in the country. A lot of great bands come through there, a really great group of friends there. So yeah, I'm just a big, goofy nerd guy.
And do you play video games also?
I do, yeah. I am currently playing a game. What is it called? Expedition 33.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I just started it. It's beautiful.
It's just a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, the visuals in that game are unlike anything that I've seen. So yeah, the storyline seems cool so far, but I'm not that far into it. So yeah, but yeah, I play video games all the time.
You're going to love it, I promise you.
Oh, cool.
It's perfect. And I'm sure you played Bloodborne also.
I did. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
I know,
yeah,
I know,
fucking love the Soul games.
One friend told me, she convinced me of read Empire of Vampire because she said to me, it's like Bloodborne.
Yeah, sure.
And it is. It's just, you know, perfect. It's a mix, you know. Of course, it's not Bloodborne, but it's just...
Yeah, the aesthetic is something that I used as a model for the world. And when I was kicking around ideas with Bon, the illustrator on the first 2 books, I sent her a lot of visuals from Bloodborne just to kind of get her into the visual landscape that I was in when I was writing the book. So yeah, the visuals, not so much the world building. The world building in Bloodborne is really confusing.
Yes,
the lore is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly in terms of the aesthetic, that kind of Eternal Night and the Hunter aesthetic and just the overall ambience of the world. Yeah, Bloodborne was kind of one of the starting palettes that I used when I was working on Empire.
I used that also. I have another in process, and it's
really
Bloodborne nice also. It's
it's one of the coolest games ever made.
Yes.
I think it's probably my favorite game ever. I played it through like 6 times.
6 times?
Yeah, and I don't I don't ever do that with video games.
Wow.
There's just something about that game that I just really like.
Yeah, the vibe is just perfect. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's...
I like the Souls games. I really liked Dark Souls 3, but there's something about Bloodborne that just clicks in with me better.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like a lot Souls games.
Oh, really?
Because it's like sometimes like, oh my God, it makes me super angry.
Oh,
And sometimes I have even headache, you know, of the tension.
I rage quit Elden Ring 2 years ago, and I haven't been back. And it was, get this, I rage quit over it wasn't a compulsory boss. It was like an optional boss.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kept getting one-shot by this thing. And
it's
I was
not
like,
Malenia. It's not Malenia.
No, it's like this heartworm, like a corrupted tree spirit or something. And it like one-shots you, but the animation that it kills you with takes about 5 or 6 seconds, and it's like, yeah, I'm fucking dead. Can I just get on with the game?
Exactly.
No, sorry, rage quit.
Let's start again.
My nephew thinks it's hilarious. He's played that game through like 4 times, and he occasionally just texts me and says, "Have you started playing Elden Ring again?"
Oh my God.
No.
I when I play these games, I play just like a little bit, because if not, I get super crazy.
Oh yeah, no.
Like a little bit, then rest, and but
Yeah,
they are.
But like Bloodborne is just as brutal as that game, but I don't know
Correct.
why I was more forgiving of Bloodborne. I don't know.
And
Maybe I'm getting old and grumpy.
And Lies of P?
No, I haven't played that one yet. I've heard it's cool. I've heard it's kind of
I think you
soulsy.
like it. Yeah, it's cool. Okay, yeah. Because when we talk about video games, I just go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I assume, of course, you had a job before you were a writer. So, what it was?
I used to work in advertising, so I used to write television commercials.
That's cool.
Yeah, I studied graphic design in college, and I was an art director for advertising agencies. So I kind of came from a visual arts background. That's kind of the way I see when I write, and that's why I like to incorporate visual elements into the books that I write, like the illustrations and the weird typography in Evernight and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah. It's just the way my brain kind of thinks. When I write, I will see like a movie playing out in my head, and I transcribe what I see onto the page.
That's cool. Yeah, the typos are always super difficult, because the typo makes, the difference sometimes with a cover or something.
Oh, sure.
The typo of the title is just makes a huge difference.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you have here.
I've been lucky with my covers, though. I work with a couple of amazing artists on my covers. Kirby Rosanas, who does the UK ones, and I think they got used in Spain.
Yeah, it's the same thing, no?
And Jason Chan, who did the US covers for Nevernight and Empire. I think the Spanish covers for Nevernight are the Jason Chan illustrations, like Mia up on the wall with the mask.
Correct.
Yeah. So they're both really talented dudes.
And the illustrations of inside, they are...
Oh yeah, that's Bon. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. I'm working with a guy called Gonzalo for book 3. He's a Spanish artist.
Yeah, I know him.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's just super cool, correct. Okay. Well, this is a very common question, but I have to ask. What advice would you give to all the aspiring writers out there?
This is a pretty basic piece of advice, but it's hard. It sounds easy, but it's not, which is finish the book. There's a million first chapters, probably billion first chapters out there. There aren't that many finished books. And even if the book is bad, if it's finished, you can go back and fix it. You can fix a car that's broken. You can't fix a car that doesn't exist.
That's true.
So push through and finish it, and then go back and fix it up.
Yeah.
Because you can get locked down and paralyzed when something isn't working, and that stops you moving forward, and so the whole process stalls. You got to learn to just push through, even when things are bad. Come back and fix it later. Yeah. That's what second draft is for. That's what third draft is for. But the most important thing is getting to the end.
That's true. My boyfriend gave me, because he's an artist, and he gave me like a random idea, and at the beginning I said, nah, I'm not going to, because he said, why you don't, when you write the first draft, just like write super briefly, like if you are telling the story to a friend,
Sure. Yep.
On the first draft. And I was like, no, what is this? And it really helps.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's just, and you can take like a first draft, and it's just maybe a lot of pages, but then you have you put the story there.
Yeah, so it's
out of your mind,
putting
without
a
pressure.
Skeleton, and then you put meat on the bones, and then skin on the meat.
It's not like an outline exactly.
Yeah, sure.
But
it's a rough first draft.
Yeah, and it was like, nah, but because he has a artist mind, like when they sketch, and I think that's...
if it works for you, then that's what you should do. Everyone's brain is different, and everyone's technique is different. Yeah. But if at the end of your technique you end up with a finished novel,
that's a win.
That's a good technique.
Yeah.
Keep going with it.
Okay, I'm lost here now. 1 second. Okay, and the last one for this part is just... can you recommend me a song, a book, and a movie do you love? You love?
Okay, a song.
I like metal, so you can...
I like metal too. Let's look what I was last listening to.
What?
I would scream if you recommend your Rammstein.
No, I like Rammstein. The last song that I listened to is a song called While We Serve by a band called Orbit Culture. They're a Swedish metal band. They're fucking awesome. I discovered them like 2-3 months ago. They got a new album coming out in October, I think. So they're called Orbit Culture. They're great. You should check them out.
Okay, definitely.
Book. What was the last book I read? It was called Careless People by Sarah Wynne Jones. She was like a foreign policy consultant at Facebook when Facebook was kind of becoming what Facebook became. And she kind of saw people with good intentions kind of slowly being corrupted by the money and influence that Facebook kind of wielded. She worked there for 5 or 6 years. And the shit that she saw there is scary. So it's non-fiction, but it's really interesting in considering the impact and influence that Meta has over the world that we live in.
Yes.
It's probably good to be informed about the people that run that company.
More and more, yeah.
So yeah, that's called Careless People. It's amazing. Last movie I saw was Superman.
Superman. And it's good?
I liked it. Yeah, it was good. You know, it's a comic book film. It's made with kids in mind, which was great because, you know, the Superman that I grew up with, those movies were made for kids. So it makes sense that there's an element of kind of, you know, bombastic, colorful energy and kind of wide-eyed innocence. That's the kind of character that Superman is supposed to be. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't, you know, the best film I've ever seen, but it's definitely worth seeing in the cinema. It was good fun.
If you say that, then we should go.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, now we go to the second part.
Sure.
And we are going to know the writer. I have to ask this because I'm very obsessed with, for example, Sanderson routine is super famous routine. And do you have any writing routine?
Yeah, I'm usually at my desk by 10. I kind of treat it like a day job. I have a 2,000 word target every day, and I will work until I have those 2,000 words. Sometimes I can get them really quickly and I have the rest of the day off, and sometimes it's a more complicated scene or I'm struggling with it and it will take longer. I usually take a break about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then pick it up again in the afternoon. I used to write in the evenings, but that was more, it was because I had a day job. And so I kind of learned to write at night. And then I realized after I quit my day job, I was still writing like way into the night, staying up late. And that was, I didn't need to do that anymore. So I treat it more like a day job now. So I get up at 8, I go to the gym, I'm kind of sitting at my desk by 10. And then I write until I have 2,000 words. And then I kind of force myself to stop, even if I'm in the middle of something. Because I find if I push through and get 3,000 words in one day, then the next day I'll pay the price for it and only get 1,000 words.
Oh, yeah.
It's just kind of the way my brain works. So 2,000 words is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah, 2,000 is just perfect.
Yeah, and so if I get 10,000 words a week, that was a good week.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, the next question was about the count per day, but you already answered that. Yeah, when you first get like the little spark of an idea, how you develop that? Like, are you taking like obviously more ideas, or how your brain works with that? Like you have an idea and then what's next?
I'm a big believer, usually the idea that I'm working on now, the new series, I had the idea for that series back in 2021 when I was working on the vampire books. And I knew I liked it, and so I sold it through to my publisher. But then I put it aside and worked through on the vampire novels. But that idea has always kind of been bubbling away in the back of my head. And I just keep a note on my phone, notepad, and whenever I have an idea, no matter how random, I'll just write it down. Like sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and write down an idea. So I kind of build up this bank of ideas and thoughts and lines and scenes. And I just basically have a big kind of verbal scrapbook. And by the time I actually get around to writing it, I'll have a reasonable base upon which to kind of start. And then it's a little bit methodical after that. I will break down, I have a big biography, a Word document that breaks down each character and each antagonist and protagonist. Kind of, you know, the start of it is just basic biological information, how old they are, how tall they are, what they look like. And then I talk about what their background is and what their deepest fear is and what their dark secret is and what they ultimately want out of life, basically just draw a big roadmap for them. I'll write that out in word form, and that will often kick off ideas and story hooks that I'm going to put into the novel. Once I've assembled that, then I'll start building the world, kind of the key historical events, the key geographical regions and locations, what the basis of the economy is, what the basis of the religion is. So it's a lot like building a house. You kind of start with a concrete foundation and then just add bits and pieces until it becomes a structure. And that's just a process of time. But like I say, I've been kicking around the idea for this world for like 4 years now. So now that I'm actually sitting down to write it, I have a pretty good base before I start actually writing words on the page. And then there's also the process of just discovering as you write. I'm a big believer in that. I'm not the world's most disciplined outliner. I don't kind of lay everything out before I start writing. I like to keep things a little bit open-ended so the story and the characters can surprise me.
Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, I try to keep things a little bit loose in that respect. So with this book, I plotted up to about the 1/3 mark, and I left the rest sort of open-ended because I knew I would think of cooler ideas once I met the characters and started hearing them talk and seeing them bounce off each other.
And they do whatever they want sometimes.
If they reach that point, to me, that's a sign that they've become real people in your head. When they start doing things that you don't expect, that's a sign that you're on the right track. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe, well, I'm like very obsessed with time, okay, because I'm 32 and it's like, like I'm going to be late to be a writer and all this stuff.
Yeah. I didn't get, my first book got published. How old was I? I was 39 when my first book got published. Yeah, I didn't start writing with a view to get published until I was 35. So you got plenty of time. You're a baby.
You're a baby. Well, I hope so. I have one book, but now I need more because it's the market is so fast, you know?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You need like to have at least one book per year.
Depending on what genre you write, yeah. I think epic fantasy is a little more forgiving because the books are so big.
Yeah, definitely.
People are used to waiting a little bit longer. But if you're writing in YA, the schedule seems to be about one a year, which is pretty intense. It's a lot.
Yes. Well, yeah, about that. Your first book is the first book that you, like, the first book you wrote? Is the first book you published?
No.
No.
I wrote a book. I started writing back in 2008. It was a vampire book, weirdly enough. It's kind of an urban fantasy. And it's terrible because most first books that people write tend to be terrible. But it got me into the ritual of writing every day. So even though the book was bad, it still taught me really valuable lessons about writing, about discipline, about just going somewhere and having control over the space. But one of the bad things about working in a creative industry is you have a lot of people telling you what to do, and a lot of people can come in and ruin a good idea because they want to put their fingerprints on it. So writing a book, it was something that was wholly mine, and if it was bad, that was because I wasn't good enough to write yet, and if it was good, that was because I was getting better at it. So yeah, even though that book is shit, it taught me a lot of valuable lessons. And so the book that I wrote after that was the book that I got published.
And which one is this one?
That's Storm Dancer, the first Lotus Wars book. Yeah. So that came out in 2012.
I didn't read it yet.
That's okay.
Okay. I'm going to. Well, yeah. Just important question, serious question. Why you are obsessed with killing horses?
I don't know. It just worked out that way in those books. I mean, There's a horse in the Nevernight series that doesn't die. Bastard, the horse that Mia has in book 1, he lives forever. Like, he's still running around in the Whisper Wastes, and I imagine him with a big harem of lady horses with him and a bunch of little bastard kids. So I didn't kill Bastard. The other horses in Vampire, I don't know why. I really like horses in real life. They kind of remind me of dogs, and I'm a big dog fan. So I don't know why. It's just a rough world, and sometimes bad things happen.
Yeah.
But there is a joke in book 3. There are a couple of horses with names who live, and it has gotten so... Horses have died so often in the story up to that point. The historian who is recording the story kind of stops Gabriel in the middle and says, wait a minute. Those horses lived. Like, you couldn't believe it.
That's
so yeah, it kind of became a meme in the book itself.
Yeah, definitely, it's going to be. With the second horse, I don't know the name in English, but I was like, oh yes, this is going to, to survive. But no.
Which, in the first book?
In the...
There are a couple of horses who die in the first book.
Yeah, the second horse, because...
For
it was a maybe it's...
Yeah,
It was a survivor, all the time. And then it was like, no.
Nope.
Well, the plot needed that. I understand. Yeah. Do you put parts of yourself in the characters? In some characters?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable that some part of you will bleed through. It's not really something that I do intentionally, but obviously everything you write is kind of being viewed through your own eyes and your own experiences.
Yeah.
So there's an element of you in every character that you create. But sometimes it's more pronounced than others. Like Gabriel's questions about the nature of religion, they kind of come from me. Like, I got raised Catholic. I went to an all-boys Catholic school, and a lot of the experiences that Gabe has in the first part of Vampire, broadly speaking, they mirror some of the experiences me and my friends had kind of growing up like that. So those questions that he asks about God and heaven and how terrible things can happen with an omniscient creator who claims to love everyone, those are kind of questions that I've asked myself. So yeah, sometimes it's more pronounced than others.
Yeah, I normally very agree with all these questions. When I read the book, I was like, oh my God, this is so true,
Sure, I'm glad it resonated with you.
Well, we are almost finished.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Was the second part of Empire of Vampire, like Empire the Vampire, harder to write for you? Because I know the second parts maybe can be difficult because maybe it's a lot of pressure or expectations,
Part 2...
Or even 3, maybe.
No, part 3 was really easy to write. Part 3 was the easiest book that I've ever written in my life.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. I was living I lived in Toledo for a month at the end of the Empire of the Damned tour. I met up with a friend of mine and we just rented an apartment in Toledo and just wrote every day.
That's cool.
Because I was leading up to a big battle scene in a walled fortress city. And so I asked my Spanish publisher, what's a good walled fortress city in Spain? And Toledo was it.
That's the best one, yeah.
And so I would write in the morning. At lunchtime, I would go for a walk around the walls and kind of plot the battle in my head. And then I would go back in the evening and write some more. And I was about 2 weeks into my stay there. And it was like an idea fell out of the sky and hit me in the head. And I thought, maybe I could do that. Maybe that could work. I went back to the flat and wrote for a day and a half. And after I wrote it, I knew it was right. It just felt perfect. And after I made that change in the book, the rest of the book was like riding a bike downhill. It was crazy. It was like someone turned on a tap inside my head. And the book was almost writing itself by the end. And that has never happened before.
Maybe it was God helping you.
Maybe. But the second book was the hardest. Second books, by their very nature, for me at least, tend to be the hardest of the three. Because you want the story to be self-contained and exciting. You want to leave people with a desire to read part 3, but you ultimately can't resolve anything because you need to save your conclusion for the third part. So the second part, by its nature, it can't reach a satisfying conclusion. You can't leave people satisfied because then they don't want to read part 3. So it's a bit of a balancing act between striking a place between leaving readers unsatisfied, but also having book to be a satisfying experience in and of itself. It's a bit of a juggling act for me anyway, so that's always a little bit tricky.
Well, in my opinion, the second book is as good as the first
Oh,
one.
that's
so
really
you
cool.
did an
Yeah,
amazing
a
job.
lot of people have said they like the second book better than the first one, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm really proud of it, but it was harder to write. It felt. The first one was hard because it was bigger and more complicated than any book that I had written. Book 2 was hard because, yeah, I was trying to strike that spot of having it being a self-contained, entertaining story by itself, but building up all the things that I wanted to do in book 3. Yeah, it was tough. Book 2, I think, took, what would it be? Like 2 and a bit years to write, and book 3 took 18 months. And book 3 is 20% longer than book 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why. Book three was writing Empire of the Dawn was my favorite writing experience ever. It was great.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Sometimes this
Sometimes
happens.
it is. Yeah.
And you have, or maybe not, because you have a lot of experience now. But you have a writer's block, or not anymore?
I've never really experienced writer's block. I've certainly experienced moments when I feel like the book has taken a wrong turn, like I lose momentum, and I'm not sure what happens next. And that is usually because I've taken a wrong turn back. And sometimes I have to back the car up and kind of look at where I thought I was going and where I actually need to be. So that's it's not really a block, but it's a stumble, I guess.
Yeah.
Happens to me, it's a sign that I've made a mistake and I need to back a little bit up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And now the third part is the shortest one. Yeah. I am very curious about that. How would you classify your books in genre? You know, because a lot of book shops, they put your book in romantasy, and I don't think it's a romantasy. I mean, it's the most beautiful love story I ever read.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
true.
That's nice of you to say.
But in my opinion, it's grimdark. You know, because it's just no ray of hope. Or if it is, you just kill it immediately. You know, it's just so.
I mean, I would classify it as dark fantasy. I think sums it up. I have seen more and more of my books getting put on romantasy shelves, which I think is kind of funny, and
it is.
I take it as a compliment. Like my readership is probably 70% female, and I don't know many other male fantasy authors who have a readership like that. So I actually, that really means a lot to me that, you know, depending on who you listen to, men can't write women and women can't write men. So the idea that my readership is majority female is actually really cool. But a reader said this to me the other day. She said, "You don't write romance, you write love stories." And I think that's true.
Yeah.
Vampire couldn't exist without the love story between Gabe and
Definitely.
Astrid. Book 2, the plot couldn't happen without the relationship between Gabe and Phoebe. So love stories are a necessary component of the plots that I write, but it's not the be-all and end-all of the book. I think the difference between something like what I do and, say, Sarah J. Maas or Rebecca Yarros, the romance is the primary function of the book. Like, it's all about the ship. It's will they, won't they get together and what happens when they do. The obstacles placed in the path of the heroine tend to be obstacles about the relationship. And that's speaking in broad general terms. I know romantasy is way more complicated than that. But primarily the plot is driven by the relationship.
Yeah, correct.
Which is totally fine. It's all good.
Yeah, of course.
But that's not really the style of plot that I structure.
No, definitely.
So I
not.
think that's probably the primary difference between what I do and what Rebecca does, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it's on romantic shelves and
It's-
people pick it up, that's all cool.
Yeah, but probably they can be scared, you know, because
Yeah, but I mean, I've had readers who have written to me, you know, they came into fantasy through, say, reading Fourth Wing, and then they realize they really like the fantastical elements, and so they go looking for other heavier fantasy books, and they'll discover writers like me. So if romantasy is a gateway drug towards my books,
yeah,
that's all good.
welcome.
All
Yeah. You have a favorite book of yours?
good. Of mine,
Yeah.
it's probably Empire of the Vampire. Even though Empire of the Dawn is the best book that I've written, my favorite book is Empire of the Vampire, because there was a point where I didn't think I was going to be able to finish that book. Like it was bigger than anything I had written. It was more complex than anything I had written. And there was a moment when I thought that I had bitten off more than I could chew, and that I wasn't ever going to be able to finish it. And I had to grapple with that as a writer and a creator. I had to wrestle with the story and make it work. And I ended up with a book that I love. Like, I fucking love Empire of the Vampire. It was up to that point the best book that I'd ever written. But I genuinely thought I wasn't going to be able to do it. So the fact that I kind of pushed through that self-doubt and kind of leveled up in my skills and ended up with the book that I ended up with, I'm still really proud of. So I think that's my favorite book. But Empire of the Dawn is the best book that I've written. I could say that categorically. It's cool. I'm really proud of it. I can't wait for people to read it.
Yeah, I bought in English. I'm probably in reading English. I'm slower, but
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
trying to finish because I cannot wait until it's translated
Yeah,
in Spanish.
I'm not
you
sure
know?
when it comes out in Spanish.
Yeah,
I think it's,
but,
hopefully 2026.
I just ordered in Waterstones
Oh, cool. Gracias.
and it's signed, I think.
Yeah, the Waterstones ones are all
Yeah.
signed. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I have one stupid question, but it's yeah. If Gabriel were dropped into the Nevernight wall,
Yeah.
would he like kill Mia or be friends with her or maybe both?
They would definitely go out for a drink together and plot to kill me.
Probably.
I mean, I put them both through an awful lot. That my main characters suffer pretty badly. Mia's journey was full of trauma, and Gabe's is even worse.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think
Gabe is-
they would get together, have a drink, commiserate, and then plot
Yeah.
my death.
100%, and you deserve, you know?
Yeah. No, I was pretty mean to both of them.
Well, we like that, I think.
Oh, good.
We are
I'm glad
all
you enjoyed it.
cruel. You were all cruel. And yeah, and the last one, if you could punch one of your characters in the face, which one is the, you know,
I
the
could
one?
punch one.
Maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you don't want to punch anybody, but
If I could punch one. It's a new character. It's in the new one.
Oh.
It's a guy called Remy, who I think people will like, but he's a very punchable character, so we'll go with him.
I will remember that when
Okay.
I read him. Okay, so that's all. Thank
Awesome.
you
No
very
problem
much.
at all. It's
You
all
are
good.
the coolest author, and it's not a flattering thing. It's just the truth. I
That's
promise you.
really nice of you to say. Thank you. I appreciate it.